Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday to you. I hope you are having a fantastic week. I hope you enjoyed our conference so much. Before we get started, I have to give a huge shout out to our IT department here at KSDE. They have made this conference amazing. They have helped us out every step of the way. And without them, I would have probably been in a ball in a corner crying right now. So big shout out to them. Thank you so much to our IT, to our presenters who took the time out of their days to come in and present to you guys virtually and impart their wisdom and knowledge. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys and helping making our conference a success. To the Kansas State Department of Ed for trusting us and doing the first ever KSDE virtual conference. Thank you to the powers that be, and to my cohort, Jim Green, who helped organize all of this and make the schedule. Jim, thank you for being amazing co-worker of mine, and for all of you guys. Thank you so much for attending our conference, making it a success. We had over 850 people register for this conference. So thank you. It is now my esteemed honor and privilege to introduce a man who needs absolutely zero introduction here in the state of Kansas. Dr. Randy Watson is going to be closing our program at our conference this week. And I am honored to work for and with Dr. Watson. He has truly been a leader during this time of COVID, and as well with me and for me in my 2.5 years working here at KSDE. Just so amazed at the amount of things that we are able to accomplish as a state, as a department, and it's because of fantastic leadership here. So thank you guys so much. Without further ado, love to welcome Dr. Randy Watson to our Zoom.
Hey, John, thanks, and good to see everyone. And by the way, it's late on a Friday. Last thing, John was going through and thanking everyone. I was thinking he's going to say Happy Friday. See you later. Hope you have a great weekend. And then he introduces me. What's up with that? Huh? So, not only am I after lunch, I'm the last thing on a Friday, but thanks, John and Jim, for putting this together. By the way, if you're still really hanging out with us, I'd love for you to turn on your video. Only because, I got mine on. If you can, I'd love it to be able to see you. And then, Kevin, then I can just do shout outs. And as I noticed, we got a couple of people with the same name. So I'm glad that you're sharing accounts. Or however you're doing it. We want to share money. So we're going to get you engaged. So I hope you have access to a phone, a computer, a tablet, or just a chat room. Diane, we can do that. It's all going to be great. All right. Because we're doing this by technology, it's all going to be wonderful, and I just appreciate the time that we're going to get to spend together. So right off the bat, it's Kansas Day, 160th year. Hope you caught that I was celebrating Kansas Day at the Capitol today. I hope you caught that. We did a little virtual field trip, thanks to Diane Smokorowski at Wichita Public Schools. Thousands of Kansas students engaged in that today. So I'm an old history teacher and government teacher, and so we're starting off with some little pop quiz. Got to have a pop quiz on a Friday afternoon because Dustin, that keeps everyone on their toes. So in the chat, 2 questions, really easy. Throw it in the chat. We have a state board, governs everything about schools in Kansas, a state board. The 2 questions around them, Julie, tell me how many members are on the state board and name as many people as you can of those members. Go, throw it in the chat. Oh, I should see the chat start to just generate. It should just start to overflow. Here we go. I love that, Cindy. Question mark, like what? I have to engage? Come on. All right, here we go. We got 7, 9, 10, 7. Okay, come on. And then you got to start throwing. All right, some of you, no one said 1, so you guys, and who are they? If you said 10, you got 10. If you said 7, you can name all 7. I'm scrolling through the screens here so I can give shout outs to Sarah and Randall and Stephanie and Rachel. And again, if you got video connection, just because maybe you didn't do your hair today, that's okay. Because Aubrey, I appreciate you're driving, man, and we got you rocking it, so everyone can be there. By the way, well, I don't have any pull with the Highway Patrol, Aubrey, so just be careful, okay? Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so we're going. And Randy Watson is not on the state board, Christine, but thank you. I appreciate that. I work for the state board. Janet Wall, that is true. Jim Porter with the question mark. Beth, that is also true. Jim McNeese, David, that is true. And the answer is 10. 10, and some of you got one of the 10. So I'm going to jump back and forth with sharing my screen today. We're going to talk about how we're going to lead the world and really do that safely. Here they are. We have two new ones, two brand new ones. Betty Arnold represents District 8, which is primarily the Wichita School District. A little bit larger than that, but that's primarily it. And Melanie Haas, you can see up there, District 2, which is mostly the Shawnee Mission School District. Some of you got Jim Porter, some of you got Janet Wall, Jim McNeese. I can just tell you, Janet Wall, the longest serving state board member in the history of the state board. So over 20 years, Mary, you should drop her a note and say congratulations, because, and don't call her old. All right, Mick, we call those people veterans. All right, that's what we call them, because I'm one of those people. You know, it's like teachers, we call them veterans. All right, so that was our first pop quiz. Now we're really gonna get your input. All right, so this is where again we're going to do some things with Menti.com. So if you would go to Menti.com, we're going to check and see how good you are with technology. Sherry, we're doing this just for you. Type 35 21 47 9. I'm going to leave this on the screen for a second, then I'm going to switch. Whoops, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do that. 35 21 47 9. Menti.com, phone, tablet, computer. You cannot use a Big Chief tablet. All right, it doesn't work on a Big Chief tablet. I just want to point that out in case some of you had gone to Walmart to get one of those. And what you're going to see, we're going to hopefully as you get in, are you now seeing as you get in? We're asking you about this school year. Let me come back here so I can see. Can you see that? Someone give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on Menti. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to put the Menti back up because some of you are, I don't know, Kat, you know, but some people are a little slow like me with the thumbs. Okay. So if we're playing with the thumbs, I get it. So here's where you're going. Menti.com, MENTI, and then you type in the code and then you can answer the question. Oh, it's so exciting, John. It's so exciting. We have interaction. It's so good. It's so good. All right. How we doing? Aubrey, if you're playing, I'm coming to get you. I'm just going to let you know, okay? You can't be playing. We're a little worried. All right. Are we ready? I'm going to share this out. See how we're doing. Boom! Look at that. We're still going. How are you feeling about this school year? Look at that. 10% awesome. 3% overwhelmed. The results are still coming in. Looks like though we're hey, Diane, we call this a bell-shaped curve in education. That looks like a pretty good bell-shaped curve. We got a big hump in the middle. We're still coming in. I think we got about 90 some people on here, Jim and John, and I think you know we're cranking it up, So I'm going to stop as people keep coming. Wendy, is your day going well? Have you learned a lot? Okay, I love that. All right. Joe McFadden, you're on my Brady Bunch leaderboard. I love that. Whoever thought when we watched the Brady Bunch as kids, if you're old like I am, that we'd ever revert back to that schedule, where we look up and we look down and we look all side to side. All right, let's see how we did. Look at that. 7% awesome, 3% overwhelmed, but the vast majority doing good, but we're tweaking a few things, and most days are a struggle, but we're hanging in there. Been doing this with, a lot of crowds, and I will tell you, and you're right there, that the number one answer is the 47% of you that answer in many days are a struggle, but we're hanging in there, followed by overall good, but we're tweaking some things. And then we tend to have somewhere between 5% on either end of that spectrum, right? This has been a challenge for us, and we need to acknowledge that and appreciate everything that all of you are doing. But it is a challenge, and so as we think about that this year, this never leaves us. The competitive nature is we lead the world, and by the way, we're going to win a Super Bowl. So I'm just throwing that out too, right? As we lead the world, because winning, getting home field advantage, win the conference championship's nice. We're trying to lead the world in the success of each student. That's what we're all about. And the state board said in order to do that, a successful high school graduate has to have 5 skill sets in combination. In combination. Academic, yeah, we know that. Cognitive. You ever known anyone that was really, really smart and you said, hey, can you, but had no common sense, couldn't really problem solve? Technical skills, employability skills, civic engagement, all of those skills to be successful in post-secondary ed. State board set forth some goals. Said, you know what? Social emotional health is important and we're going to grow that. We want kids arriving to kindergarten ready. Every kid ought to have an individual plan of instruction starting at no later than 8th grade. And we ought to help kids graduate high school and move on to post-secondary education. Those were, very, very important. All right. So we're about to interact again. Because Mary, I know that it's late on a Friday. By the way, where are we going after the conference? Isn't that what we ought to be? Who's driving? Well, Aubrey's done driving. She's coming back to work. All right, so maybe Carrie, we can get you to drive. All right, we can drive the bus. We have another Menti question for you. We have another Menti question that we're going to be asking you. So we're going to end up going back, and some of you've already started this. So as you go, you're going to go back to Menti, and you're going to answer this question that you're seeing right now. So it's open-ended. What's the biggest threat to student safety today? Look at this, So again, it's 35, 21, 47, 9, trauma, mental health, lack of security, entry and ability, COVID, isolation, COVID, anxiety, mental health, mentally unstable, families. Keep coming. It'll scroll as we get more and more. Illnesses, mental health, anxiety, electronic cyberbullying, predators online. Look at these. Isolation, financial instability. These are all really great. All really great. A lot of mental health in here. A lot of mental health. Sometimes I show a little clip of American Graffiti. Life was simpler. We all used to cruise Maine. At the end of the night, we went home and it was over, and no one cruises Maine anymore. The smartphone has done remarkable things to our lives, and some things not so well. I love these. By the way, John, I'm going to share these with you and Jim afterwards, so you can kind of get a sense for what people think are some of our biggest threats as we sit here today. But there's a lot of trauma and mental health going on. Keep coming, by the way. I don't want to cut anyone off from that. I'm just going to stop to share my screen as we go back. So, parents also, 34% of parents fear for their child's physical safety in school. This is from Phi Delta Kappan. So that's a third of parents, and that's a very, very fundamental thing that parents, they want to feel good when they come to school. They want to make sure that kids are safe, and yet 34% of parents say that they're not. So are you ready to have some fun? We're going to ask some questions. Not that we haven't already, but Krista, we're gonna kind of go back in time. I'm kind of looking to see who my veterans might be. And Kevin, you were looking really good earlier. Now you look great because you got a good looking photo there. Um, but oh, thank you. See, I guilted you in coming back online. I appreciate that. All right, so let's see if you remember any of these or if it's just me. Were students on this playground safe? How about this? Anyone remember the old kind of jungle gym? By the way, when you fell, there was no crushed rubber or soft landing on those things. All right. How about this one? Anyone remember jumping out of the how high could you swing? And we bailed out on these. All right. Good concrete. Wonder if that playground was safe. What do you think about this one, Sherry? Now, I know that John never did this, but at Garfield Elementary in Coffeyville, where I grew up, we would see how fast we could go to throw the kids off. And that was somewhat encouraged, by the adults. Look at this. And look at the dirt and rocks surrounding this. That's a good one, by the way. I hope some of you got to do that one. Oh, how about the old teeter totter? And look at these nice young ladies. I don't see any gentlemen. Well, yeah, there are. Yeah, but the ladies are in the foreground. They would never do what we did, which was jump off. Oh, that's always good. Then you get the teeter totter becomes a catapult. Have you noticed that? If you jump off, and then you can launch people. Actually, so that's exciting. Um, so let's go. Let's see what else we've got. Teeter totter, my favorite. Oh, the major hump slide. So you know what we would do in this one. All right, there's no rails on it. You'd get some wax paper and get that baby really going well, and then we'd take our bikes down them. We'd actually haul our bikes and go sliding down those things, huh? And I know I'm old, and I know Dana's going to tell me, yeah, and you ate dirt and you drank water out of a fire hose too. I bet, right? Just and it was, but were playgrounds safe? Well, evidently not, because we don't let any playgrounds have any of those devices anymore. And if they do, they tell you don't go play on them. So so we like to say, well, we grew up and it didn't hurt us any, but we've learned some things over the years that make us safer. And playgrounds have certainly become safer. So I just wonder, because when I was in school a long time ago, we wanted to be safe. We just didn't know about safety because we were ready. We were ready when the nuclear explosion happened. We would be safe. We were going to hide under our desk. I don't know if any of you remember the safety drill. We only had, that was a good one. Hide under your desk. There was a great movie that scared everyone in the 1980s. Remember The Day After, where they simulate that the nuclear explosions happen and like sucks Kansas City. Kansas City is the town that blows up. I would have been safe under that wooden desk in Garfield Elementary in Coffeyville, Kansas. I thank Mrs. Smith, my kindergarten teacher, for teaching me how to do the nuclear fallout shelter drill. That's how we were safe when I grew up. We just didn't know as much, right? So let's talk about some things maybe we have going on today. Whoops. The fire alarm. None of you in school would ever have pulled this just to get kids to get a few minutes out of school. But we don't want a school to have a fire. We certainly don't want anyone to life to get lost in a school fire, right? I mean, we want to make school safe. By the way, we practice these every month. Fire drill so that we can be safe. Lots of things to do. Throw in the chat. Here we go, Julie. It's Heather. It's back to interaction time. Can't wait. Throw in the chat. How many students, unfortunately, have been lost in a fire in a Kansas school since Kansas became a state 160 years ago today? How many Kansas students, unfortunately, Jason, have lost their lives in a Kansas fire since 1861. Hey, hey, you know what, Tanya, you know what? Somebody told me this was the elite group. The answer, see, this is called wait time for you educators, you know, because if you give it too quick, Shannon, then people, you start to copy. You say, well, maybe Mary got it right. You know, that's what I did in school. Hey, sit next to the good kid, man. They may get it right. I'll just take what they did, you know, or as you know, or if it's multiple choice, choose C. The answer is 0. We have never lost a student in a Kansas fire. I used to sit at the table, you know, when we had our police chief and our fire chief, and when I was Superintendent McPherson, and we would argue about whether the doors should, you know, if classrooms should open in or out, because it depends on whether you're protecting a fire or an intruder. And of course, the police chief would say, "Really? Come on, fire chief. Nobody dies in a fire." He says, "See how good we've gotten?" And I will say that's true, right? The schools that were built in the late 1800s were horrible. They did catch fire, that no one lost their life. And now there's sprinkler systems, there's firewalls, uh, you know, doors have we have fireproof places, so it's really pretty good. So we've not lost any student in a Kansas fire, and thank goodness. We've done some good things over the years, including we still drill on that. Whoa, what happened? I don't know, but we're going to come back and see if we can do this again. I apologize for that. Let me come back, and not sure exactly what occurred, but how about these tornado safe rooms? Almost 0 schools now, Beth, in Kansas get built without adding these, right? It's a common thing. Look, missile impact resistance. Whoa, want to be in one of those, because we don't want this to occur, right? A horrible tornado that destroys a school, and we have kids lose their lives. Again, I think I mentioned, Shiloh, that today's Kansas birthday. Since 1861, how many Kansas students have been lost to a tornado while in school, Mary? All right, throw it in the chat. Throw it in the chat. How many Kansas students have unfortunately lost their lives in a Kansas tornado? Yeah, see, it's like if you're doing the multiple choice and you think C is the answer, Carrie, then you know, then you answer C. But now we think maybe, oh, look, now we've got Leslie 21, Mary 5, Dina 3. The answer, it's like winning the lottery. None of you won that $1 billion lottery, or you wouldn't be on the Zoom today. That's how I know. That's how I know. Say clairvoyant. Yeah, I love that. I love that. The answer is not C, but I love the participation. The answer is 1. One student lost their life in a Kansas tornado. Happened in 1921 in Johnson City, not to be confused with Johnson County, Stanton County. Johnson City, we don't know a lot about that. It happened just in the early afternoon. There's not a lot of history about it, but one student has unfortunately lost their life in a Kansas tornado. And now what do? We build safe rooms. Why? Do you know why? Because Moore, Oklahoma had a horrible tornado where kids did lose their lives about 2007, and that really spooked people. And so I don't have the clip, uh, Dale, but you know what the way that I did it in school. You went out in the hallway and you just closed your head, put your head between your knees, and we know from the Moore tornado what happens. You get sucked right out of the building collapses on you. So not a good place to be. So we made it safer. Costs us millions of dollars to do that, by the way. It's not inexpensive to build those, but we've made it safer, right? And good for us. Good for us. And then fairly recent phenomenon, right? School shooting. By the way, I will tell you, this is not untrue. John knows this. There's not a day that goes by that at the end of the day I don't thank the Lord if we haven't had a school shooting in Kansas. Because we will someday. We will. We will. And it's going to be horrible because there'll be scenes like this coming into school. And so I was teaching in Andover High School when a young man entered Goddard High School and opened fire in the 1980s. Some of you will remember that. Killed the principal. We have lost educators in a shooting. It's been a long time, but we have. It was 1987, if I remember correctly. And Goddard High School is not the Goddard High School today. I believe it's an intermediate center still in Goddard, but that was traumatic. And I remember the Andover High School that was just recently torn down because they just built a new one, had an open commons area, which is very, common. And you walk in, and just open, and all the locker bays were around a commons area. And I could remember at that time thinking, this is just right for someone to come in and could just open fire. And that was tragic as we as that happened. Fortunately for us, we haven't lost anyone since then, but don't ever say it's not going to happen here. Despite all the things, what have we spent lots of money on? The state of Kansas allocated money. In fact, that's how we got the positions that John and Jim are in. And what do people do as they renovate and as they build new? Pinch points, right? Bulletproof glass in the entryways, and you stop people kind of in the entryway. You don't let them into the building, and security badges and security cameras and all kinds of things to help us, because we learned a lot from Paducah and Columbine and all kinds of other tragedies in our life. And then some of you mentioned this. I'll make schools safe. Most students that commit suicide don't do so at school, but we actually had a middle schooler in Southwest Kansas attempt it by hanging herself in school during school session last year. And we know what that causes, right? You all mentioned trauma and mental health and trying to deal with those issues. It's interesting. The latest data we have on suicide, which is always in arrears because you've got to go through what's called the death review board for any adolescent or any young person that loses their life. And so, Aubrey, it's always a little bit in arrears. But the latest data that we have on teenage suicide or school suicide in Kansas is that we're 16th in the nation in youth suicide in rates between the ages of 15 and 24. Suicide's the second leading cause of death in Kansas as of 2016. And by the way, this is pre-pandemic. That's not a good thing, right? Now, let me tell you, it's not necessarily new, Aaron. Depression runs rampant in rural communities. And the more rural you are, the more even adults can get depression. So it's not, but what is new? We talk about it more now. We keep better statistics. For in the early part of our statehood, it just wasn't talked about very much, but it is now. So obviously we've got work to do around this issue, and a lot of you know that. And then This is another thing you said. Wow, COVID-19. COVID-19. Hey, I don't know if you've noticed, Janet, our communities are a little bit split on COVID-19. Have you noticed? And Julie, here's how I know. Whenever I come into a medium-sized community, Mary, you know what I do? I go to Casey's because I like to drink lots of water, Kevin. And so I'll go to Casey's and get me a big, thing of water for, it's usually about $1.98 with tax on the Casey brand. And every Casey's in Kansas says, thank you for wearing a mask. It's our policy to wear a mask. I'll give you two places in Kansas. I walked in to Hugoton. Thank you for wearing a mask. No one in the place was wearing a mask, including the employees. I was in Atchison, just doing Kansas Day. Same thing. I walk in, everyone there wearing a mask. By the way, I would argue that Atchison County and out in Hugoton are pretty conservative places in Kansas. We're not talking about Lawrence, one of more liberal places. You want to get a good conversation going on in your own family, argue about whether or not you have a right to wear this or not a right to wear that. That's where we've come, right? So COVID has split us. Some people, it's not safe to leave your house. Other people, haven't changed their lifestyle at all. But it's created anxiety, hasn't it? It's created school closure. Some of you that are parents have said, what am I going to do if my school closes? Some of you that are teachers are saying, I have to teach remotely and hybrid and in person all the time. And it's stressful. So COVID certainly has played a role also. So what do students need? I know we've got counselors and some social workers on here. This is, if you're in that field, the mental health field or the school field, you'll recognize this as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And really, when we talk about safety, isn't this what students need? I had the opportunity to sport coach for a number of years and teach for a number of years. In fact, they were kidding me today because of Kansas Day. They said, wow, you miss teaching, don't you? Because you were really into the Kansas Day today. And there were times, both coaching and teaching, and you can ask the students that I had, but Leslie, there were times that I would have to get on them and try to move them out of their comfort zone in order for them to grow. But you know what, Beth? I never could do that. You cannot do that until they know you care deeply enough that you're doing it out of love and you're not doing it out of just being, you're trying to push them too hard, right? That Maslow's hierarchy needs are pretty important. So are these. Kansan said, we've got a set of skills that every kid needs. And I don't know why I'm having some trouble with PowerPoint today, but something is going on. If you just give me just a second and we will try to correct what is happening. I apologize. So Kansan said, you know what? That hierarchy of needs is pretty important. And here are the skill sets that every kid needs. This is exactly what Kansan said, that you need a combination of intrapersonal, interpersonal, and cognitive skills. You're going to get to go back to Minty 35, 21, 47, 9 in just a second. You don't need to go there yet, because here's your challenge, Kevin. I want you to think about your own kid or your grandkids or a niece or nephew or some kid that means the world to you. All right? And I want you to fast forward for those of you that are young enough. If you're old enough, you don't have to even fast forward. What if you had to only pick one of these? Not a fair question, Sherry. Not a fair question. But I'm going to ask you to pick one for your own child or someone that's important to you that you want them to make sure that they have that skill when they become an adult. All right, above all other, you want them to make sure they have that skill. These are all good. So you're going to pick one on this wheel, not interpersonal, not interpersonal. You're going to pick time management, or you're going to pick integrity, or you're going to pick learning schema. Does that make sense? You're going to pick one of those and you're going to type it in. And guess what? For this activity, oh, Matt, it's so good. Spelling counts. Ah, didn't you love that when the elementary teacher? And spelling counts. So it's time now to go back to Menti. And give me a second, and I'll make sure that's up for you. And you're going to, I'll come back to the chart, and you're going to get the opportunity to put this in. What one competency do you feel you like to have instilled as an adult? All right. And you should be able to see that now. And I'm going to go back, share this screen. And when I do this, Menti.com, Kevin, I have to pick on you because my screen's limited now. Are you able to see on the Menti that you can now put that in? Thank you. Beth, thank you. Beth, I love that. I love that mask. You're rocking it. You look good. All right, keeping people safe. So you're going to pick one. Sherry, don't disappoint me. If you think ethics are the most important, pick it. If you think conflict management is, pick it. This is for either your own kid or grandkid or a child that's really, really special for you. Kansan said all of these in combination are the skills that we need to teach. And you're going to get to pick one today. By the way, since her early retirement, because she's way too young, this has been Diane Jersted's work for us on the mental health side in Kansas, and we appreciate deeply, Diane, your work on this on behalf of all Kansas kids. All right. How we doing? Michelle, by the way, that is a great looking dog that you have. All right. Are we doing well? Let's see. This is a Wordle. You guys know what a Wordle is. 55 people have submitted. The bigger the word, the more people agreed. Okay? The smaller the word, the less. So right now with 56 people, perseverance, adaptability, empathy, communication are the most important. Perseverance is the most common. Integrity is also pretty high because the bigger it is. By the way, in this little experiment, Jim, let's not tell anyone that perseverance is the most misspelled word on this chart. Okay, so oftentimes we'll see perseverance up here a couple times because people either don't like the R or they do like the R, and that's what happens. Adaptability, perseverance, empathy, problem solving. 60 people. Keep it coming. Self-regulation's up there a couple times with a hyphen, without hyphen. Self-efficacy, self-care. Look, these are great, right? Been doing this a while. We started this work in 2015-16, and we continue to work, and you're continuing to share this work. We've been doing this, and we've been asking people a long time. I'm going to share with you now what now, the slide's going to say 9,000, but I can tell you, Dale, it's now over 10,000 Kansans have weighed in on this. 10,000 Kansans, all right? That's what we ask you to do. 10,000 Kansans said. Surprise you? Looks a lot like what you did. Self-regulation, perseverance, integrity, adaptability, initiative, problem solving. You see it. That's over 10,000. By the way, I'm adding you to the data set. That'll change a little bit after today because you're going to add to the data set. 10,000 Kansans. Over 10,000 Kansans. Sorry? 10,000 Kansans. Did I mention that, John? I just want to make sure. 5 said content knowledge is the most important. 5 out of over 10,000. So Jason, if you remember, there's an old movie with Jim Carrey called Liar Liar, and in that movie he makes a statement one time about, so I got a chance. Yes, there is a chance that content knowledge is the most important, but what do we do every day in school? And what do I do every day I go across to talk to the legislature? What do you want to talk to me about? A test score, content knowledge. When you told me that what's the main issue about student safety is mental health, right? COVID, mental health. What Kansan said, 10,000 Kansan said, perseverance, adaptability. These are the most important skills. And we're hyper focused on content knowledge. And it's not that academic knowledge is not important, but I will tell you, I'm going to bet, Matt, that the last time anyone asked for your ACT score was when you went to college. I'm telling you, Shannon, I go apply for a job and no one has said, and how'd you do on the subsection of algebra on the ACT? They don't ask that, right? So these skills are really important. Now, guess what we did, Kevin? We asked kids the same question, only a little different. Here's what we asked. Of these skills, which one do you need help with? And by the way, you can list more than one. Which ones do you need help with? Because we're here to help you. So we asked, well, if you need adults to help, then which ones, Joni, should we give help? Right, Rachel? So Lexi, so we asked over 7,500 middle school and high school kids. By the way, a long time ago, there was a show, Art Linkletter. See, when you smile, I know you're a veteran like me, and when you tilt your head, it's like I got to do Nick at Night, Colleen. That's what you're thinking because Art Linkletter used to have a segment on his show called "Kids Say the Darndest Things" because they're so honest. You want to know? So we asked kids, what do you need help with? We know what adults say that they want to have for you when you grow up. That's it. What do you need help with? And 7,300 kids said, can you imagine a sixth grader? Can you even imagine, Sherry, that they might say, I may need some help in self-regulating myself today? I know it's hard to believe. Look at this. Self-regulation, initiative, conflict management, assertiveness, goal setting. Males, females, sixth graders, ninth graders, 12th graders, 7,300 Kansas students. Let me just tell you, I just want you to know, Kat, we did not go to Oklahoma to survey them because we don't care. We live in Kansas. We care about the Kansas kids. Let Oklahoma, Krista, care about the Oklahoma kids. And content knowledge, I need help with math, was not in the top 25. They're begging us to help them on the same skills we want them to have as an adult, and we're spending 7 hours a day teaching them content. Oh, that's why we're trying to redesign this thing called education. That's why we're trying to keep them safe and secure and love them and do all of those things as we go forward. They're asking us, females are asking us, can you help me with initiative? Can you help me with conflict management? Males are saying, I have trouble being too assertive. I need help with communication. That was one of the things that you put on there too. I had a parent say this to me not too long ago. At the end of the day, Randy, all I want is when I drop my kid off in the school, she returns home safely, having a wonderful day in school learning and growing. And that would be a pretty good day. And so as we run out of time on a Friday, at the end of the day, when they get on the bus or they go home or they log out of Zoom, right, which we're all doing now to some extent, were they safe? Did they grow a little bit today, social, emotionally, and academically? Did we love them a little bit? Did we care for them? And was it a better day than what we started the day? That's what it's all about. I want to thank you for spending the entire week. Man, a virtual conference the entire week. You know, that's like we made you get tough this week. Like my dad used to say, you know, I knew getting old was this hard. I don't know. We'd have to think about it. Well, virtual conference, we're all a little tired. I appreciate you, Mick. I appreciate all of you. Carrie, thank you for being a part of this conference. Aubrey, thanks for driving and running all over the country to get here. We appreciate all of you. John and Jim, thanks for putting this on and thinking about it. If I can be of any help to any of you, let me know. Rock out the rest of the year and have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks. I'll turn it back over to you, John.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Watson. Just incredible. Very easy to see that you are passionate. You love Kansas kids. You love our educators. I hope that when I am a veteran, that's what you said, a veteran like you, I hope I have your energy and your enthusiasm. So thank you so much. Guys, thank you. Have a great rest of your Friday and your great weekend. We are going to be sending out a post-conference survey. It's 4 questions. It will take you less than 2 minutes, and that's if you hunt and peck on this. Please turn it in, take the time so that we can make this conference even more successful and more relevant for you next year. Thank you guys so much for attending this week. Have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Be safe. God bless. We'll see you soon.
Thank you all. God bless.
Thanks for putting this on. I enjoyed it.